Alright everybody, this is going to be a video on Google Drawing, okay? Last time we used Google Drawing to make a poster for ourselves. This time I wanted to explore what the name Google Drawing, the drawing aspect of Google. So the first thing you're going to do is, however you open your Drive, please do that. So if you're on Google, the website, you can go over here and go to Drive and it will take you right to Google Drive. You're going to see in my Google Drive that you're going to see a bunch of stuff here, okay? Again, as I showed you in mine, I have a lot of stuff from class or things that people send me to print or things like that. So this is going to look different for you. However, what is going to look the same is you're going to have somewhere your drawing from last time, okay? It might be, way down or really close, and it's going to look like the red icons right here with the square and the circle are drawing files. So you can see I have a couple here in mine. So really, to make a Google Drawing, they live in here, but what you can do is, to just make another one, you can either right click, go to more, and go to Google Drawings, or you can just search up Google Drawings, and it will take you to a blank drawing, okay? So just like last time, we have this interface, right? Now, what you're going to be doing today is practicing the drawing tools. So the drawing tools are pretty basic. They're kind of very similar to other applications like Photoshop or Illustrator, which are pretty popular. They're photo editors or drawing applications that are more professional. But Google Drawing is a little bit basic, and that's okay because we want to learn with it. So what we're going to be using here is a couple different tools. So if I were an artist drawing something, what I would do, if I were personally doing it, and this is very common, is if I draw a sketch for myself, I'm going to upload it to Photoshop or something else and then trace over it. Well, we're going to kind of simulate that here on Google Drawing. We're going to find a picture. So you're going to go to Insert, Image, and then search the web. Okay? Now, I want you to pick, your favorite animal or a monster or something interesting to draw. So I'm just going to pick something that I've already done. You saw it in my Drive. And I'm going to do a panda. So I'm just going to put a picture of a panda in by clicking Insert. Now, once we have this in here, we are going to make this into a stylized drawing. So what I mean by that is we're going to kind of use a low poly art style, which means a very blocky art style that is, you'll recognize it, I think. But Google Drawing definitely does a certain type of art with it, okay? So right now, if you haven't went to Insert, Image, Upload from Computer, search the web, and you haven't put one in, please do that and find a picture. You can pause it until you get there. Next, what we're going to do is, there's a couple tools you need to know. If I go over here and click on the down arrow next to the line, there's two of these important things, polyline and curve. You also here have shapes, okay? I'm going to start by just using the polyline. So the way polylines work is, and I'm going to do it over here, you would do it on your drawing. I click once, and then I can move around my mouse cursor. I can click, and I can keep clicking. Now, if I double click, it's going to end the line. And that's not ever going to be what you want with this. So if that happens, just hit the arrow and hit delete, okay? I'm going to go back to polyline. Notice if I click, and I end up going back to where I started, you can see it snaps. You need it to snap for this to work. So if I click here, it's going to fill that with solid color, okay? So again, if I'm doing this and it snaps and it fills with color, it's good. If you're doing this and you get really close and you accidentally double click, you're going to notice that it's not closed, okay? You can see that open shape there. That's not going to really work for you. So we always want to close our objects, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to kind of make this art style and trace out our animal and background. So first of all, you pretty much trace by colors in here. So I did a panda for me because it's an easy example. So I can see I have two basic colors, black and white. So I'm going to figure out how I'm going to break this down. So I'm going to do a big white circle for the body, and then I'm going to trace the legs. And I think I'm going to do the legs first. So how this works is, again, this, you can see this is like very angly type lines. If I want it a little bit more curvy, I go to curve, and then it becomes a little bit more curvy, okay? So, and I'll show you the difference. I'll use polyline for the legs and the curve for the body. So what you do here with detail, and I'm not going to do this with crazy detail right now because I don't want you guys to spend, and you can see I right there made a mistake. If you click too close to your last point, it will also end. So if that happens, again, hit delete, and you have to start it over. I know it's frustrating, so don't trace too much in one shape because you might have to start it over if you make a mistake. So you can see here, I'm just roughly, and you can see this one's a little low down here, but that's okay. We can fix that later. I'm roughly tracing out a leg of my panda. And again, this is going to make a certain, and look, I made a mistake again. So this takes practice. It's going to create a certain low poly image, a very jagged art style. Okay. So I'm just going to roughly do this. So I'm roughly just tracing out the leg here, and I'm going to close it, and it'll make a closed shape. So again, if I kind of do this properly here, that's the second leg. And again, you have to be really careful because if like you saw, if you do it too close, it's going to make you start over again, and it's a little bit frustrating, especially with the trackpad and the Chromebooks. So that's there. I'm also going to trace the eyes right now, and maybe I'm just going to use a curve for the eyes because they're a little bit more round. That might look a little bit better. And again, this is not going to be perfect. This is, again, this art style that I'm talking about here. And I'll do the little nose, and I know the eyes look a little creepy. And I have a really thin mouth. I don't know if I'll be able to get that. That's okay. It's a little smile. And then I'll do the ears. Again, not perfect. It's going to be a certain mood. Okay. Now, I'm also going to do the bodies. So I have the white body back there. So I'm going to click like this. And that's okay. I mean, it's a little bit off. That's fine. And I'm just doing the rough outline of the body here, so I don't need this to do anything crazy. And now you say we have a blob. Okay. So, fix this. I'm going to keep the picture on here for now. But obviously this is not the order our panda goes in, right? So first and foremost, I can change colors by clicking on things using the paint bucket. And I'm going to change it to the colors that I know that I want. So I know that I want all the legs to be black, and I want the other parts to be white. Now, remember from last class, if you want to send things backwards and forwards, okay, I can click on them. I do the right click, order, and I can send a back or send a front. If something's already in the front, it's not going to be highlighted because it's on top of everything, right? What you can do, you can use the order button and like send backwards until you get everything, you know, where it needs to be. Or if you just hold the control button on your keyboard and press down a couple times, it'll send pretty much everything to the front. And you can see that I'm pressing down and now I'm pressing up. It'll send whatever you're selecting backwards or forwards. So that looks more panda-like to me. I'm also going to change, again, my panda's little facial features here to black. Okay. And now that kind of really looks like a panda, okay? You're going to do a background too. I'm going to delete the picture right now just to help us see some stuff. So also here, it's not perfect. So see that leg back there? And I probably want this leg, honestly, behind everything. So I'm going to do control down a couple times. Now, that's not perfect. So if I want to modify this, I just double click double click on this, and I can click and drag the points. So now I can kind of tighten up these points if I don't like them. Maybe I don't like how that's curving. That looks good. This up here needs to be fixed, so I'm going to double click. Maybe I'm going to move this up here like this. And that's still looking weird. Move that back down. But these are the kind of things you tune up. And again, still not perfect. You might need to zoom in. Like there's a good zoom in tool here. So these are the things that you can use. Now, this can be used for decorative things on a flyer you're using, or it can be used on, if you're just doing a simple drawing, really. So that's our little lesson on how to use the drawing tools. Again, there's also shapes in here. You could, if you want to do the eyes, it's like a circle. You could do that, I suppose. You're not going to have the nice ability to stretch and edit these if you double click on it, though. So they don't really work that well. But basically, you're going to pick, you already picked an animal, and now I want you to use these tools and, the forward and backward, holding control and pressing up and down to kind of make a drawn out animal. Okay? Raise your hands if you have any questions about this at all.